Thank you for joining us on Black Investments Matter. I'm Antoine Anderson. These are the two moments where Ashley Mercer torpedoed her own motion. Let's see how it all broke down.
So on January 5th, 2024, we had a text exchange where we talked about that I had discovered that Nathan took Fani on a cruise and a trip and paid for it with a business card. You told me you were on a plane home from Dubai, but you would call me as soon as you got home. Do you remember that?
So what I have is a text message from you saying, "Oh my God, Nathan took Fani on a trip to Napa and paid for it with his firm."
Okay, continue reading.
And you said, "Is he that young?"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Wow, I'm on a plane from Dubai, land at 3. We'll call you as soon as I land."
So that is accurate. That's what you told me.
That I will call you as soon as I land, and wow.
Yes.
Yes, that is accurate.
And then you told me that you weren't surprised because they took many trips to Florida, Texas, and California.
Okay, so I don't have that, and I can show my phone, but I don't have that in my phone.
So the question is just, do you recall?
I do not recall.
Communicating that to me?
I do not recall.
All right.
Do you recall telling me that it was when she had to move her daughter a trip to California?
I do not recall that.
And Judge, may I approach the witness?
You may.
You have to keep in mind that this witness is a witness that Ashley Mercer herself called to the stand. They were gossiping about Nathan Wade. These were both of his friends, right? And, I don't know what kind of unlucky star this individual is under. Your wife cheats on you, turns out with one of your best friends, and you get a divorce. Your partner at your law firm gets caught up in a sexual assault accusation case that he denies, but it causes a rift in the law firm and he's separated from that. Oh man, you have a cancer diagnosis, all within 3 or 4 years. I just don't know what kind of unlucky star this dude is under, but man, it can't get much worse than that. At least I hope not.
Yeah. Oh, I see it. See if that refreshes your memory.
Yes, I see this.
Does that look like, does it refresh your memory?
It does not. I mean, I see what's on the text chain, but you said this happened January 5th?
I can tell you exactly what happened.
And here we go again with another uncomfortable pause in what's going down in this case. She didn't have her stuff together, and one of these individuals, either Ashley or this witness, is flat out lying. Either that text exists or it doesn't. And since it was between these two friends of Nathan's, it doesn't get much worse than that. But as you will see in the rest of this video, it does get much worse.
There's no date and time stamp on that. Let's see. It was, let's see, just. I think it was January 5th.
Judge, I just want to, on behalf of Mr. Wade, just to review the search again. We still don't.
To which question?
The current question, we still don't know the source of this information, whether it was privileged or how we obtained it.
I'm wondering now if there's a timeliness issue on your objection, since he already. Well, he said he doesn't recall.
Right.
So there's.
He just gave the date. He didn't start answering.
Well, his question or his answer was he doesn't recall, and his memory has not been refreshed. So I think it's time for the next question.
May I purchase what you said?
Okay.
Can I see what you're originally witnessing? So is this the complete text string?
Yeah, it's the complete text string.
This is another bad look for Ashley Merchant. How is it that we are still trying to push past this assertion that the conversations that Nathan had with his attorney are privileged, and still forging ahead, and this is still allowed to go on? Now, this issue of privileged communications between an attorney and a client is going to keep popping up throughout this video. That's going to be the key of what Terrence Bradley is trying to assert, that anything that I found out about when he started dating Fani Willis happened during the course of me representing this man during his divorce. So it's definitely not looking good for Ashley Merchant. Just slimy all the way around.
While they're looking at that, can I just ask you, did you delete any text messages?
I have several messages in the phone with you. I've never deleted. I mean, there are messages about family and my health and things like that. You asked me to be on some panel.
Yes.
And so I think it's complete, but
Well, no, my question was, did you delete any
no, I haven't deleted anything.
Okay.
I have not.
And I offered them to look through my phone earlier if they are welcome to.
We never provided it to us.
Said you.
The physical phone, we never provided it.
It's the only phone I have, Judge.
Yeah. I understand that I don't want to keep popping up, but my concern, of course, is that these exchanges are just two lawyers gossiping about information. And I'm concerned about it coming into the record in this way. I understand impeachment is a thing, but if we could do it in a way that the substance of this gossip is not, that part is not impeaching, the contact is impeaching. So
I don't think we've gotten to that point quite yet, Ms. Cross, but you can renew your objection if you think we have. So right now, the sole thing that Ms. Merchant is trying to do is hand him an object to refresh his recollection again. So we'll see where we get with that.
Now, if that first torpedo didn't already sink this ship, the second one definitely will. This is going to highlight an exchange between Judge McAfee and Ashley Merchant, where she gets clearly rattled, and there's really no salvaging this. We'll take a look at it.
Okay. Ms. Merchant.
And was it that any knowledge that you had as to the truth of that statement, was it told to you in furtherance of legal advice?
I'm going to object to it. If that statement is true,
That's all right.
and the witness has already testified he has no personal knowledge about that. So whether he represented at one point it was true or not true, he has no personal knowledge about that, so could not testify.
Prior inconsistent statement, Judge. Do it all the time. That is what the state does
It's not a
regularly.
statement.
They bring in, if it's a prior inconsistent statement of another witness, Judge. If Mr. Wade
Which other
testified,
witness?
I'm sorry,
Okay, Mr. Wade testified.
that their relationship did not start.
But you can't impeach him with a prior inconsistent statement that's privileged. And so we haven't gotten over the privilege hurdle.
The privilege hurdle we've gotten over with fraud on this instance.
Well, that's the first time you use that word. So if you want to make the argument of why that applies, you can do that now.
Yes, Judge. The crime fraud.
Body language. The judge looked at her like she was crazy, like, and then, asked her to explain this fraud charge that she just threw out there. This gets bad.
Exception. It applies because of the crime fraud exception.
Which crime and or fraud was committed here?
So there's a couple different things, and I wanted to stress them both because he's raised 1.6 and also raised attorney-client privilege. For the crime fraud exception says the privilege doesn't apply if if the existence of it, essentially if he has to keep something secret to allow a fraud upon the court to continue. So we've got that. We've also got
No, it has to. The legal communications have to have done in furtherance of a crime or fraud. How has that been established? And what crime or fraud are we talking about?
we're talking about perjury, lying to the court.
In the affidavit filed last month.
Yes.
And so what have you done to link the communications that he made maybe, I don't know, years ago to the affidavit filed last month?
The communications even years ago, it's proof of the affidavit being incorrect, being false. He's given a prior inconsistent
But
statement.
the legal communication has to be in furtherance of a crime or fraud.
Right, but he also can't protect. So, and I think it's more under.
But if he had no idea, the affidavit wasn't even going to need to be filed until a month ago.
Right.
And these communications and everything happened well before that. How is anything that they communicated in furtherance of that affidavit that they didn't even know would have to be filed one day?
It's been waived. That part's been waived because he filed the affidavit. So you can't file something that's false and then your lawyer know that it's false and then say, oh well, privilege, my lawyer can't correct that.
Now break this down. Try to follow this. Ashley Merchant is saying that the crime of perjury was committed in 2023, right? But the continuance of the crime that was committed in 2023 happened in 2020, 21, or 22. In other words, before the crime actually happened is when the continuance happened.
When he waives the privilege. And he waived the privilege. He testified about this yesterday.
Okay, Ms. Cross.
I don't think that's even close to an accurate representation of what the law in this area is. And beyond the real kind of throwing out fraud and this and crimes, which what you have, Your Honor, is a conflict in the evidence at this point. I know which way the weight of the evidence appears to me, but that's going to be for the court to judge. But conflict in the evidence, that is not a crime. That is not a fraud. That is not a perjury. That's a conflict in the evidence for the court to decide.
So I agree with you there that you would have to first establish a crime or fraud occurred by preponderance. Got it. And anything else?
Just that she can't, under the guise of impeachment of this witness, number one, establish that. Number two, the witness has already said he doesn't have any personal knowledge of that. And there is the kind of specificity that is required to lay the predicate for a crime fraud exception to the attorney-client privilege is nowhere close to being met here.
Okay. Anyone else want to be heard? Mr. Sada.
Now, we're not any legal representatives here on this channel. This is just for reaction and commentary on this case that's absorbing a lot of Atlanta's time right now. But I find it particularly grimy that all of these individuals know each other. Ashley Merchant and Terrence Bradley, they were friends of Nathan Wade. Ashley campaigned for Nathan Wade when he was running for a judgeship. Terrence Bradley was his legal partner at his firm. His name was actually on the door. And what happened, and what seems to have happened, is that these two individuals were gossiping. And it smells like a setup because, she's, oh my God, how can he be so dumb? This is what came out in the text, right? He spent money on this. She was setting up a scenario right when this motion was going to be filed a month ago. She filed this motion a month ago, and all of a sudden, this is what she does, and she gets old boy to somewhat corroborate it, because he's like, I don't know what you're talking about on this text about this, that, and the third, and she's got this scenario going on, but she's not able to back it up. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with this case. So we're going to keep watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Keep it clean, keep it intellectual. Just try to process what you saw here and tell me what we're missing. Talk to you later.